Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm your host, Rosemary, an energy healer, a spiritual advisor, and a spiritual teacher.
Hi, and I'm Carla, a spiritual teacher and your co-host for tonight.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm, which is his series. We will play one or two different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded, will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
If you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we're available to come to your group and teach from this series. We will give you the contact information at the end of the show. Please visit Rosemary's or Hans's website, where you'll find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Now, our shows are available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go on YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We are constantly adding new shows, so keep checking back. We're also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show. We hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, tonight is our 214th show. And the title of the show is The Luciferian Doctrine. And as you can tell by the title, it's about Lucifer. So as soon as the control room gets the DVD up on the screen, we will listen to it, and then we will have dialogue after the show.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm. In this video, in the Life Explained series, I would like to explore with you the Luciferian Doctrine. Now, you may know about Lucifer, but have you heard about the Luciferian Doctrine and how it influences our world today? To understand where it came from, we have to go back to the 11th century. All of Europe was in the firm grip of the Catholic Church. At that time, the Church was sending thousands of men as crusaders to recapture the Holy Land, and in particular Jerusalem, which had fallen into Muslim hands. Now, who were these men, these crusaders? They came from all walks of life. The one thing they had in common was their belief in the Catholic teachings. However, when these men traveled to the Middle East, they were suddenly exposed to many different beliefs and spiritual teachings that they had never heard before. These teachings came from Judaic and Islam mysticism. They came from Egypt, from Greece, and even from faraway places like India. For some of these men, they were a truly mind-blowing experience. They also began to hear different interpretations of familiar biblical texts, things they had never heard in their church. One particular passage stood out. It was a story of the snake tempting Eve with the apple. The Catholic Church had taught them that the snake was Lucifer or Satan, who deceived Eve by promising that if she would eat from the forbidden tree, she would become like God. Suddenly these men were introduced to a very different interpretation. They heard that Lucifer was not evil or Satan, but the God who wanted to save and educate mankind. In truth, they called him the light bringer, the real God, and that Yahweh, or Adonai in the Bible, was in actuality the devil, the suppressor of mankind, because he didn't want Eve and Adam to know their true identity. This teaching became the famous Luciferian Doctrine. Now, when these men returned home from the Holy Land, they continued talking about these new ideas and interpretations. But they knew they could only do so under strictest secrecy, as the church would torture and kill anybody who would question or challenge their teachings and authority. This eventually led to the birth of many secret societies, most famously the Templars, the Rosicrucian, and the various Masonic orders. These very mixed teachings from many different occult traditions were secretly studied, eventually wrapped in rituals, and protected by gruesome and blood-curdling oaths that the members had to swear to ensure secrecy. But everything changed in the year 1888 when the founder of the Theosophical Society, Madame Blavatsky, made most of these teachings public in her famous book, The Secret Doctrine, which she spiced up with some of her own fanciful imaginations. Central to Madame Blavatsky's teaching was the Luciferian Doctrine. The first edition of her book stated that Lucifer is the only god for our planet. No surprise that her magazine was also called Lucifer. It was a beginning of what we now would call the New Age. Originally, it was promoted as the time when the Lightbringer, Lucifer, would lead mankind to a new era of tolerance and peace. Rudolf Steiner started off as the secretary of the German Theosophical Society. He later founded the Anthroposophy movement. Another famous person was Alice Bailey, who founded the Lucifer Publication Company in 1922. And then there was the well-known science fiction writer H.G. Wells, who also published a book called The New World Order in 1940. With this book, he promoted a world government and a secular world religion. Other important figures were Annie Besant and Charles Leadbeater, who thought that they had found the future world teacher in a 14-year-old Hindu boy called Krishnamurti. However, this did not work out as planned. Krishnamurti eventually dissolved the entire organization. So the Luciferian doctrine is not only central to members of highest degrees in some elite Masonic circles, but also expressed in several New Age teachings of today. Let's look how this doctrine influences our life. Here we have the planet Earth, where according to the Luciferian doctrine, the worldly affairs are ruled by the Lord Lucifer. Now, as spiritual beings, we come from the spiritual worlds to incarnate for a very short lifespan here on Earth. Most of us do it to clear up past karma or eventually return to a higher spiritual sphere or return even to our spiritual home from where we all came. But if we forget who we are or don't believe in life before or after death, we can easily be tempted to dedicate our life to accumulation of riches, power, fame, and other stuff that makes us important and special. We might even fall for some New Age guru teachings promising unbridled riches and abundance. Our purpose here is to develop the kingdom within and not the kingdom without. But if we want worldly riches, our god and orientation would naturally be this guy here, Lucifer, the only god of our planet, as Madame Blavatsky put it. He rules the worldly affairs, and with him many heads of politics, military, finance, and industry. But it does come with a hefty price. Anybody who aligns himself with this god of the world to obtain riches, power, fame, and so on, enters a Faustian bargain. Chances are they will become his servant after their physical death. Such energies are never given for free. Now, in addition, the Luciferian doctrine also states that we are God, which is also a very popular belief among some New Age teachings. The danger is that when we think we are God, we are convinced we can get away with anything. We feel that we are only accountable for our actions to ourselves. In other words, we could harm or even kill somebody and justify it with something that simply had to be done, without any guilt or remorse, and totally ignoring that such an action has created an enormous karma for our soul. Somebody who thinks he is God does not feel accountable to anybody else except himself. Now finally, let's look around this world and see how powerful the Luciferian influence already is. We see the evidence everywhere in the wars, the terrorism, exploitation and suffering, greed and so on. It is based on the Freemason principle ordo ab chaos, order from chaos. which justifies any actions to bring the New World Order into existence. Many see this as a totalitarian form of world government. The goals of this New World Order are not secret. They are outlined in the American Stonehenge for anybody to see. They are the Georgia Guidestones, erected in 1980. It is a huge granite monument in which 10 new guidelines are engraved in 8 different languages. These guidelines are supposed to replace the 10 Commandments given to Moses. 2 of the most interesting guidelines say that mankind should be reduced to 500 million people only. That means many must die for the benefit of a few. This will be the result of the order out of chaos. They also say that family planning must be controlled by the authority to keep the number down. It is not my goal to convince anybody about the existence of the Luciferian doctrine. I merely offer, and if it works for you, fine. If it not, it's okay too. Now, the material for this video I have taken from the research and from the books by Armin Risi and Jan van Helsing. But there are a lot of other books on this topic if you want to explore it further. Thank you for your company.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's quite
This was huge.
a video. Very huge. And we're going to do our best to explain it without scaring you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
All right. All right, so you know me, I like to recap.
Yes.
So, in the 11th century, the Catholic Church sent the Crusaders to capture areas. And when they arrived, they heard different teachings that they'd never heard before. Mm-hmm. So, say from Islam or India or Greece. Mm-hmm. And one of those teachings regarded the snake or Lucifer, Satan, okay? It was suggested that this snake was not Satan, but the true God, asking Eve to be herself because God was suppressing them and didn't want them to know their true identity. The snake was not evil, but instead the god Lucifer, or the light bringer, who wanted to save and educate mankind. And this teaching is known as the Luciferian Doctrine, right? So my first question is, how did this truth get distorted? How, to say that the light bringer, Lucifer, was the true God.
How did it get like that?
Yeah, how did it get like that? Was that, I'm open, right? Mm-hmm. First time I ever heard of it, but I'm open. So is that the truth, or is the way that most people commonly know it the truth? Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of like everything that we see in the world today. One person writes about something one way, then somebody will write about that same thing another way, and so forth. The Bible itself,
right.
Though it has some beautiful things in it, it also has a lot of things that are not true in it, because they were written by man from his mind as we went down through the ages. They were written from, a lot of them was taken from the doctrines that the scrolls that the Catholic Church has, which we haven't seen. They're locked in the Vatican, and we're supposed to be read to us, supposed to be written from that, but we have no idea because we're not allowed to see. Therein lies the real truth. Through the years, it's just like, I think I said this before, that game where you whisper in somebody's ear and you go down the line, by the time you get to the end, it's all changed. First of all, if you believe the Adam and Eve story, you're going to have a problem with this. Because if you believe in a God who would say to you, well, I can't tell you the truth. I can't tell you what's going to happen, and if you try to find out the truth, you're going to die. Okay? I'm going to get kicked out of here. Now, if you believe in a God like that, I feel bad for you, because it's not a God that I want to believe in. It's not a God that, in my mind, would ever exist. As far as the whole thing made, Lucifer, everything that made up the snake came in and tried to tempt him and all that. It's just man's way of saying, this is what tempts us, okay?
So it's just It's a story.
Yes.
Okay, so you could even say in the Bible, it's a story of Adam and Eve, just in terms of, say, obeying God, you know, and then the teachings that the Crusaders found with the Luciferian Doctrine was a story, inverting it, saying, oh, no, Lucifer wasn't bad. Lucifer was trying to do good. Lucifer.
Okay. In every story, there's truth.
Mm-hmm.
But only the wise person with self-awareness can pick out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What is really the truth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There are truths that work for some people and truths that work for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer, as I think we talked about how we got here, Lucifer was named Satana, and it was a woman. And Lucifer, who is Lucifer now, his name was Demon. That was his name. And when they started this riot, just like what's going on in the world, getting people to follow them, and got kicked out of heaven because, I hate to say kicked out, couldn't stay in heaven because their vibration was too heavy. It would
low.
not hold.
Right.
They couldn't stay there
Right.
when they came down here. Okay. She was a very high, she was God's dual. Okay, you can't get much higher than that. And Lucifer, or what he's called now, or demon, was a light bearer. He was a very high angel, but he succumbed to what she told him about. Let's take over.
He followed.
Yeah, and he followed.
All right.
Just like things that go on today, and he followed. So that's where they got Lightbringer, because that's what he was originally. They took a piece from here and a piece from there and a piece from there and made the story. And all they could believe then was what the Romans told them, what the Romans believed in at that particular time, what the Jewish people believed in at that particular time. And that's all they knew. But when they went there, they found all these different beliefs are all over the world, which they didn't know existed. And then they started saying, could it be this way? Could it be that way? Which opened their minds, but further confused them.
Well, in a way, you know, you're getting me thinking that, in a way, the Adam and Eve story could be representative of if you are succumbing to temptation, it's going to lower your vibration, right? And that's what happened eons ago at the beginning of time. And when your vibration lowers, you can't stay. You know, not that God's necessarily kicking you out of paradise, but
he's not kicking you out. You
but
just can't.
You can't stay.
No.
So maybe the story of Adam and Eve was created as it was, so people can understand it. You know, because it's hard to understand things from the other side. Because we're human and we're here, right? So it is hard to understand that. All right, so the Crusaders, go ahead.
What came to my mind was, I don't know why it popped in.
Yeah.
In the Bible, they talk about the whore of Babylon. People think that's a woman. That's not a woman.
Oh, I'm not familiar with it, yeah.
No, it's a country. It's the way people acted. But see, the Bible's in parables, written in parables. Why do you think that was like that? So people wouldn't be able to understand it so well. They form their own opinions. That's why I say
Interesting.
the only important things are the Ten Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount. Do that, follow them, can't lose. All right, go ahead.
So the Crusaders came back. They knew enough to keep their mouth shut, but secret societies formed. So I know we could do a whole show on secret societies, but let's just say, you know, what is a secret society?
Well, it's when they worship like they want to, believe what they want to, but they can't tell other people for fear of retribution. Just like today, you say you believe you like President Trump.
Right,
you got to be careful. You can't wear the hat. You can't wear a shirt because somebody's going to, you know.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see that in this day and age.
Right.
So back then, you can imagine how it was.
Right.
You'd be killed on the spot.
You'd be killed. Well, almost like the witches
like
in
that
Salem, or
Yeah.
that kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Like you are disagreeing with what we say, so we're going to kill you. We're going to hurt you.
The witches were just women who were performing healings, people who were psychic, doing all wonderful work.
I know, they were all killed.
But they were not what the leaders wanted them to be. Okay, and
Right, so they had to go underground.
it's been that way all through the ages.
Right. right.
For fear of their lives,
Right,
and
for fear of
torture
their
and
lives.
punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And they did some horrendous things to people. Horrendous things. So, and all in the name of God? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I couldn't.
Now, I didn't understand Hans's statement that Lucifer is the only god for this planet. What does he mean by that? Like, are there multiple gods, or what does he mean?
Lucifer, there are a lot of people who worship Lucifer. There are a lot of secret societies who actually get together and they worship, they have services worshiping him. What he means is, if you worship material things, all the things that really cause problems, if your possessions mean more to you than God, if you have an uncontrolled desire for sex, money, drugs,
Power.
Whatever, then that is not of God. That is of Lucifer. He is the one who wants that to happen because he controls the planet. He wants people to do that. So if you do that, you're like under his rule. You know what I'm saying? That means you won't be doing wonderful acts. You won't be doing nice things. You won't be doing unto others as you want them to do to you. What you're saying to yourself is me, 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 me. And it's what's going on in the world right now. So Lucifer, as long as he controls us like that, when we pass over, we'll go with him. And he'll have more subjects. He doesn't plan to get back to heaven anytime soon, but he will one day. Want to or not, he will. Everybody's going to be going home one day. Every single person that God ever created and is creating still. So that's what that means. He's the God. He's the one that's ruling over here. And
because of all the temptations that there are for greed, for addictions.
And people are not seeking their spirituality. It's dead. They follow religion. They go and they pay their thing on a Sunday or whatever any of the other religions have, whatever day. They go, they sit there, they do the thing, they walk out. That's all I need to do. Not after that, they don't even think about their spirituality
anymore. As
anymore.
he said in the beginning of the video, not finding the kingdom within.
That's right.
That is what we're supposed to do. And that's what spirituality is. That's what the journey is. You know, finding the truth, the real truth within.
Organized religion does more to hold people back from finding out the real truth because they're saying, depend on us. We'll get you there. No. Everybody has to get themselves there.
Exactly. Everybody has to make their own decisions. Because we talked a little bit about this on the last show. And, you know, there's good and not so good. And you have to be careful and decide for yourself with the major institutions like religion and government and healthcare and, you know, education and all of that. All those, you know, there's good, but then there's not good.
That's right.
And so you really have to be careful to make that distinction and know that you don't have to buy into everything.
That's right.
You know, because there's going to be some good done, but not necessarily all. So just being aware, I guess.
You know, what gets me is that people are so true to their religions, their various religions. And you want to take Catholics, for instance, all the priests and bishops and whatever who molested children, did what they did. They forgave them for that. Now, if it was anybody else, they'd be in court, in prison, whatever. Why do you suppose that is? That's blind following. Blind leading the blind. Following them blindly without thinking for yourself. Why? Because of a fear. If I part from this religion, then what am I going to do? Who's going to save me? Okay, and that's what Lucifer loves. That's what he loves.
What does he love? Confusion? All
of everything that's negative. Confusion and belonging and yes.
Denying the truth within.
Exactly.
So knowing something is bad, but still following the gang.
Right.
You know, that type of thing.
Never realizing how perfect and divine that we truly are and what we can accomplish if we wanted to. We look for the easy way. And then the people who follow him, a lot of the leaders and the people who make the laws and the rules, they keep people so busy trying to make a living, trying to get through the days, trying to work, trying to whatever, that they don't have time to think about their spirituality. When that should be first.
Right, right,
You know?
right.
It's
right.
like
it's taken away.
when we had
Opportunities
the
are
major
taken
earthquake.
away.
What was it? Was it San Francisco again years ago when we were alive? What was the big earthquake?
can't
Well, take 9/11. All
Okay.
right, we'll use that. That's close. Look how people stopped what they were doing and helped other people. And everywhere in the world, people were nice to each other for about a month. Now, if we're capable of that, when those things happen, then why can't we do it all the time? Why? I ask you out there, why? Why can't you do it all the time? Be loving and nice and kind and helpful all the time. That's who you are. That's what God made you. That's how He made you. Anyway.
No, I mean, it's a lot to think about. That was one of the things I was going to get into with my questions, was that Hans explained that Lucifer rules worldly affairs, like you said, so that makes sense to me, heads of military finance policy, and then people enter into what you're describing as this Faustian bargain. So they basically make a deal with the devil, right? Saying, if you give me power, fame, drugs, sex, you know, whatever that money that people want, then I'll do what you want. I will follow you. So basically making Lucifer their god, basically.
Exactly.
Ignoring this god and making Lucifer
That's
their
it,
god,
perfectly.
right?
Perfectly explained, yep.
Okay,
Perfect.
all right. So, but then it was interesting when he said, to achieve all of this, the deal is you become his servant after physical death. So what do you think that means? Like, explain that a little bit further, like an actual servant in the afterlife, or
Well,
what
a
do they
servant
become?
in the way that whatever he wants, you must do.
And this is what you're kind of
Yeah.
doing it while you're on this planet,
Right,
really.
exactly.
Right?
But you're savoring all the things he gave you. You know, maybe the riches or the looks or whatever you wanted, the love of your life. I don't know. Gotten through him, you're savoring it. Okay. So when you're on the other side, now you're going to have to do his bidding. You go where he is. He has his own planet, and do whatever he wants to do. But doesn't stop you from getting out of there. Okay, you can leave
If
when
you
you
want
start.
to.
Your thoughts starts to change and so forth. Lucifer is not more powerful than God. Lucifer cannot keep a person from God. A person keeps their own self from God.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right,
Okay.
he can't. No matter what he does, he can't do it. So
Right. Right.
remember that. Everybody should remember that.
So if they're with Lucifer on the other side, are they is that the negativity in the world? Is that the negative forces in the world? Do they go out on his behalf?
Yeah, and they go out
and come
and
back
influence
to
us.
Earth, and then get other people to be tempted? I mean, is that?
Yeah, they'll do it in the body, and they'll do it in spirit too, as we had on other shows where spirits get around us and try to tempt us to do things and tell us to do stuff.
So this is what this is.
Either
So
way, you know.
kind of like join our club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not they're not going to have free will with him.
Right.
His motto is divide, bind, and conquer. And that's it. So they're not, after all the wonderful things on this earth, once they get over there, whoa, you know, was it worth it? See, people don't believe in life after. That's the thing. They don't believe in reincarnation. And until you believe in something like that, you're never going to know the truth. You're never going to believe the truth. You're never going to strive for the truth.
Now, I love that you said this on a show before with Raymond, and that what evil does is divide, bind, and conquer. Just quickly say what that means, because I think it's so true. I really like that you say that.
Let's take the situation today now, since our president came in.
Okay.
Divide means to make the people divide. You believe in President Trump, I believe in Hillary, whatever. Well, that's going on. Even though he's a president, they're not letting it go. Okay, so that's divide.
Divide the people.
People are divided against each other.
Either you're for the president or you're not.
Right.
Either you like them or you hate them.
Right.
It's the divide.
And bind is just, you're bound to these beliefs of yours. You're bound to them. That's what you are. You are bound to all the negative things that you believe, and bound to him. And conquer means, in the end, you go with him. You know what I'm saying? You go with him. And it's just like people that treat people the same way. They divide them, they bind them up. Now you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. And they've conquered them.
Right.
They won as far as he won as far as they're concerned.
Well, you get the
one.
people dependent
Yeah.
on something, and then they're easily ruled.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Whether it's a human on this planet or whether it's, Lucifer. They're just easily ruled. Okay.
You have no free will with Lucifer.
No, you do, but you don't think you do. I mean, you don't have with Lucifer, but you always have free will with God.
Yeah, if you follow him, if he's your God, if you're the one, he's the one you worship, you won't have any free will in your life or on the other side.
You have to do what he says. Yeah.
God is the one who
gives you the free will.
All for one and one for all.
All right. So in essence, too, after you die, when you go off with Lucifer, then you basically, are you in hell?
Well,
as
hell is not a place. Hell is a state of mind. Okay. There are hellish places. If you saw that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come, and when they were looking for his wife, and they went to this place where the people were still carrying on wars and doing all this thing, that was their hell. This is what they believe, and what they feel, where they feel they belong. The sea of faces that you saw. People really should see these movies. These people all committed suicide. They all believe they deserve to be punished, and so that's where they go. That's not real, but it's real in their minds. Astral City. When he was walking through that terrible place, and people were hitting other people and beating them. There's no place that they do that. It's in their mind.
It's in their minds what they
and
think
if somebody's beating you, it's because you want it over there, It's what they created. The man came and offered him his hand and said, "Come with me." Oh, no, they want to stay.
So this is different, because if you follow Lucifer and Lucifer is your God, then you're just going to a place. It's like different than what it's conventionally talked about hell. You're going to a place that's all negative energy, and that's what you
and you're bound by him all the time. You don't have free will. Nobody's come back from there and talked about it.
Right.
So you know, but that's how he is, and we've been told from the prophetess, and through the ages, the different prophets that came down try to tell people things, but they didn't believe them.
All right, so. They said the goal of the Luciferian Doctrine, this story, is a new world order. So what does new world order mean? I mean, we're hearing this. We've been hearing it for years, but we're hearing it more and more. It's getting bolder.
I remember where it started.
Being said,
when Bush was president. It started. That's when I first heard it.
Yeah, it's getting bolder and bolder. This idea of a new world order. And so, what is
a new world order? Well, when we'll talk about that later, the Georgia Guidestones. It's the Ten Commandments from the Illuminati, and the Illuminati is governed by Satan. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the new world order would be that we would be ruled by one man, the whole world.
Right.
Okay. Like when a corporation buys another corporation.
Right.
I remember Whole Foods. They bought out the other big, I forget the name, but there was another big health food store, supermarket, and they bought them out. So now they're a conglomerate. You can't bargain. You can't talk to them. Well, I'll go to this other store, and you can't. He's the one ruler. He'll be the one.
And then Amazon bought them, so we got even a bigger ruler.
You got a bigger ruler.
Yeah, we got a bigger ruler.
So what it's going to be like is one big conglomerate, and the one man is going to rule everyone.
Everybody.
And what he says goes. There's not going to be any democratic kind of a life to live. I
Right.
don't mean Democrats themselves.
Well, there's
but
not going to be any
being
parties.
No.
I mean, there's not going to be any. I mean, we're going to be one world.
Right.
So it's not going to be in America who has parties,
Right.
and it's not going to be Britain that is a parliament.
No.
It's not going to be any of that. It's going to be one. And I want to say to the viewers too, we're not being political. It's from a spiritual standpoint that I'm
exactly.
concerned about this.
Exactly.
You know, and we're going to get into
When
that.
I
in
say
a little
Democrat, I don't mean the Democrat Party.
party. No, you mean a democratic.
I mean
that
democratic
we're
actions.
equal.
Yes,
yeah,
we're
we're
all
equal. We're all equal.
So he's going to do that, and one way he's going to do it is
Right.
controlling the population. We'll talk about these rules of it, what he says at the Georgia Guidestones. Whenever you want me to, I'll read you what he wants to do.
Well, I found that fascinating on the video about the Georgia Guidestones, and I had never heard of it before. I went and I looked it up as well, and they are these like our American Stonehenge that they call it, and they are the goals for the New World Order on the granite slabs in 8 languages. And first of all, they're to replace the 10 Commandments.
Exactly.
Which, no matter what religion you are, what's so bad about the 10 Commandments? You know, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt honor thy mother and father, thou shalt not steal. You know, when you know, what's so bad about the 10 Commandments, and why do they need to
Because it doesn't
be
suit their purpose.
replaced? Well, this is what's getting scary, and you know, I think
this is a good time to tell the people what they are.
Okay,
Their
so
10
these
commandments.
these Georgia Guidestones. Okay, so what these new commandments are supposed to be in the New World Order,
World Order.
where there's one ruler, and we're all, no matter what country you're in right now, we're all under this one ruler. It's right. Okay, so it's
There's
new,
no democracy
new rules.
there. Yep.
New rules.
New rules. This is
okay,
what
so
the
it's
rules
really
that they
scary
wanna have.
stuff. So go ahead.
Number 1, maintain humanity under 500 million people.
So this means people have to die.
That's right.
For the benefit of a few.
Exactly.
So somehow they're going to get rid of everybody else, and only 500 million people
Right.
will remain on this planet.
And
Okay.
also to keep that, they're going to guide reproduction. In other words, they're going to tell you how many children you can have, if you can have children at all.
If you can have children. So
That's it.
how do they decide that? So there's going to be all kinds of testing, and there's going to be all kinds of determination. So in other words, you have no freedom. No freedom at all in any of this. Okay.
Unite humanity with a living new language. I can only guess that they're going to make up their own language or what the words mean, so that I wouldn't know a reason why they would do that, but I don't know. I can't explain that, a new language.
What is meant by that? You know, I mean, there's certain words you're not allowed to say, or it's a living new language. Okay.
Number 4 is rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason.
So they get to rule passion. So if you're passionate about something, painting, writing, the ocean, you know, your cause, they get to decide
Where you can go and
where
what
you
you
can go
do.
and what you can do. So you don't necessarily get to do your own passion or your own belief system.
Your own belief system, your own
or your own
traditions.
traditions.
Right,
Your
none
own
of those
traditions.
things.
If you like to get married, doesn't mean they're going to allow marriage. So they're going to decide that. Okay. Number 5.
Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts.
So
Okay, that sounds good, right?
Doesn't that sound good?
But you know what the fair laws and just courts are? What they want.
What they want.
That's it.
Right.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
What they deem is
Not what
right.
the people decide.
No.
Not what the people want. What they decide.
Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. In other words, they're going to do their things in private. Nobody's going to know, and they're just going to rule you.
And that's it.
And you have no say. You won't be going to any meetings.
No say.
You won't be knowing, no say for anything.
No. No. You just have to do it.
Just like puppets. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Now, petty laws would be laws that would, freedom of speech. You know, things like that.
Yeah, what are they calling petty?
Yeah,
right.
right.
What are they calling petty?
What are they calling petty? Yeah.
Right.
And useless officials are people who would want to enforce things like that. You know, people who want to help people who want to do the good things. No, no more.
No. Want to get rid of that.
Yep.
Want to get rid of that.
Balance personal rights with social duties. Now, I can only guess that means personal rights, social duties. If you want to get a right to do something, you got to do your duty, something that they want you to do to be able to have a right to do something else. If they agree that it's okay, you can do it. Yeah. It's always a bargain, constantly.
Right. And if you want to live, then you also have to abide by this.
Exactly. You want to live in a house? Well, you got to do this and this and this to live in the house. Things like that.
Right.
Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite.
Okay, so
sounds nice, doesn't it?
I know.
Who's the infinite?
But who's the infinite? Who defines beauty? Who defines love? Who defines what harmony is?
That's right.
Who's defining it? And this is what is frightening to me, spiritually speaking, because spirituality, and we talk about this a lot, spirituality really is you don't harm any living thing.
Right.
There's no rules to spirituality. You're free to believe what you
love is free.
What you want to
freely
believe.
given.
Right. So this is like who spiritually, no one has the right to tell you what to do. I mean, there's rules, obviously. I mean, you know, we all live in communities where we're governed because we can't harm other people. I can't go speeding down the street and kill 3 people and then just go on with my life.
There has to be those kinds of things.
There has to be things like that to
order.
protect everybody equally. But yeah, this is kind of like a spooky one.
Like a
prize, truth, beauty
society.
Yeah, I know. Just like that TV show on Hulu. Yeah,
a totalitarian society.
That's what it's going to become. All right. So number 10.
Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. They say it twice? I don't know, but I guess it's on there twice. Be not a cancer. Right, on the earth. I would say that would mean just, leave nature and things to them. Don't harm anything that we don't tell you to harm.
Right.
They have to put some things that seem nice here.
Right.
I would ask them.
But it's all interpretation.
Yeah. I would ask them what they meant by that. Okay, let me see.
Why do you think they erected the stones? I mean, it's mysterious. They don't know who actually did this. I mean, someone did show up and give a false name, but they don't. Although you did say it's one of the secret societies. Okay,
the Guidestones' emphasis on preserving nature anticipates the environmental movement of the 1900s, and the reference to seeking harmony with the infant reflects the current effort to replace Judeo-Christian beliefs with a new spirituality.
Yeah, so that when I read that, I found that scary. Let's see, what are you going to tell me how to be spiritual?
Yes, they're going to tell you.
Yeah, so I have a real problem with this.
How you worship, who you worship, which will be the one leader.
Right.
And all that.
Right.
Okay, that's what they're going to do.
Right.
They're going to tell you all that. They're going to tell you how much nature they can be, what can you plant a garden, how much you can do, how much you can do nature, anything like that. Anytime they say sustainable development, you should substitute that with socialism. Okay?
I think this.
They're saying that what's the true significance of the American Stonehenge, and why is its covert message important? Because it confirms the fact there was a covert group intent on dramatically reducing the population of the world, promoting environmentalism, establishing a new world government, promoting a new spirituality. Why do we need a new spirituality? We can only imagine what that new spirituality would be, and I would say be worshiping him. So, I mean, we could go on now with this, but I would say if you're all interested out there, this isn't something we made up. You can go on the internet and you can type in Georgia Guidestones. Georgia Guidestones.
And nobody's paying attention to it. You never see anybody on the news bring it up. You never... you never hear anybody
never
bringing
heard
up,
of it
and they're
before.
standing, and apparently they have ceremonies there. I don't know what that's
Yes.
all about. And I mean, you know, I mean, do you think it's the start of mind control? Like we're going to put these stones up, we're going to have it there, like, oh, this has always been the belief, and just, you know, get people used to things, get people distracted, get people dividing, as you say, which is going on. Really, it's going on right now.
You know, we're already 45 minutes into the show.
Okay.
So I think we're maybe doing a part 2 on this.
So
What do you think? There's a lot more questions here.
there's a lot. Well, let's see. Maybe we could do. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's see what we get through.
Okay.
All right. I just want to say it again, though, because I find it so frightening that on these stones, and this represents the New World Order, which comes from this Luciferian doctrine, is mankind has to be reduced 500 million people. I mean, we're billions, right? And billions, right? In the world, 500 million, and so many must die for the benefit of others. So that we can all understand and feel a little alarmed about, and the fact that family planning is controlled by authorities, not by you. So I don't know. This stopped me in my tracks.
Everything will be controlled.
Everything's going to be controlled.
Everything will be controlled.
There's just going to be no.
If we let this happen.
If we let this happen.
Now, we're not saying this is going to happen.
No.
We're saying this could happen.
We're saying there are people behind it that want this to happen.
Exactly.
This isn't one madman out there.
No.
This is groups and groups and lots of people that are out there that do want this to happen.
Right.
And we saw it in the last election. We heard about it, at least in the United States we did, the whole idea of a one world order, a one world government, that we have no borders, that we have, like, no country have any borders, you know, and so we're hearing this, and this is kind of the association of it. At least that's what I would interpret.
Free will would be gone.
Free will would be gone.
You can't live where you want to live, or work where you want to work, or have the friends you want to have, or do what you want to do. That's what they want. Total, complete control. And who controls that? Lucifer, because that's who he is. That's what he wants. Total control. That's why he started it. That's how we got here in the first place. Because we could get like that. But I believe there's a lot of wonderful people on this planet doing a lot of wonderful things, and surely we'll fight against it. Whether they'll be successful, I don't know. But like I said, it may never happen because the good people won't let it. We'll rise above it and so forth. This is what they want.
This is what they want.
Yeah.
So you think...
And they're not even afraid to let people know, because you know what their people are
Well, it's
saying?
getting
As they're probably saying right now, baloney.
Baloney. That will never happen. That will never
Yeah.
happen. That will never happen.
Right.
Right.
And we don't want to scare anybody.
No,
But
it's
we just
not
want
that, but
people
it's
to be...
But be aware, I think, because
Yeah.
it's so important to have the freedom to just be you. That's
Yeah.
what spirituality is. It's so important to have the freedom to love who you want, to live the life you want. It's why we're here on this planet, to discover the God within, and to, you know, to not have to drink the Kool-Aid, to not
Right.
have to buy into things that don't make sense to you, to not be told what to do, to not be...
Everybody's so rushing around, making money, buying all these riches, doing all these things, not giving one little concern for their soul, one little concern to their spirituality, one little concern about what really happens after you pass over. What really happens? You want to find out? You know, I guess not. You know, and they're trying to make people live forever. That'll never happen. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes I'm just speechless.
I mean, so you think the light will win?
Yes, the light always wins.
The light always wins.
Sooner or later, the light
Sooner or
always
later.
wins.
It doesn't mean we can't get to this.
No.
But sooner or later,
But you better pick your sides.
it rolls back.
People better pick their sides.
aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be aware that this could
Be
happen. This is
aware.
what's going on. They have mentioned it on the news. They have talked about it. So it's not like we made it up out of thin air.
No. I mean, this I mean, I heard it so much.
Yeah.
you know, over the last few years that I've looked into it, because it was like, I don't really understand who that is. And there's a, you know,
People just poo-poo it.
you know, certain, right,
yeah,
right,
no,
right,
no.
right,
So,
right,
okay.
right, yeah.
I wonder if people out there ever thought the world was going to become like it is now, with all this fighting going on and all these things between people here, riots, fights in the streets, civil wars, the things that they're doing, you know. But then, like I said, there's those good people who help, who are loving and kind and wonderful. Those are the people.
What's the ultimate goal of this, the dark forces, Lucifer? So if they accomplish this, okay? And Lucifer, and it's just, you know, darkness rules the planet. And is it just to gain momentum or force, thinking that it can overcome God?
It's him wanting to rule.
Right.
Wanting to, without us following that, being part of the New World Order, he'll have no kingdom. This is his kingdom. That's what he wants to do. He wants to make it like that. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You can't. Who's more powerful? And people are powerful. Us out there, we are beautiful. We're created by God. We're perfect. Just keep that in mind. And start thinking about that, and these kinds of things won't happen. But you see how far they went to make those stones and to write that up there.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Without even any fear of retribution. People, I would say half of this world or more don't even know that they exist, these Ten Commandments.
I would
Georgia
say
Guidestones.
99% of the world, definitely 99% of this country doesn't know that these stones exist. And some that do know they exist, there's a few celebrities, I won't mention names, think we should celebrate it. You know?
Oh, nice. Okay.
So there's people that are aware of the stones and think that it's just fine that
They
we
have no
this.
idea what true bondage is.
No.
People have no idea what that is. And they're
You're
not
really
like
not
it.
having the right
They
to
will not
say
like
what you want, to think what you want,
do what you
do
want,
what you
to go
want.
where you want,
Right.
all of that.
Right. And this is why I know we've talked about this so much, but I love spirituality because no one can tell you how to be spiritual.
No.
There are no rules. You choose how to be spiritual. You choose what you believe. No one can tell you how to think, and no one can tell you what to say or what to do. And if someone is trying to tell you what to think or what to say or what to do, run away fast.
And that's what people are trying to do now.
And that's what people
by
are trying.
By shutting people's mouths up. You can't say this, and you can't say that.
This. You can't. Right.
Yeah.
You can't do this. You can't say this. We're going to kick you out of the restaurant. We're going to throw
We're gonna
water
beat you
on
up.
you. We're going to
gonna
beat
do
you
whatever.
up. We're
Yeah.
going to shout you out. We're going to, we just don't want to hear anything different. Yeah.
It's really pathetic.
It's so.
All they have to do is follow the Ten Commandments and the Sermon on the Mount. That's it. It will change your whole life if you follow that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel like sometimes we're running on a treadmill. We're not ever getting anywhere. We put the information out there, and it's up to the people to do what they want to do. We try to enlighten and give you, this is what this is about. Telling you have a choice. Outside the box means you don't have to follow the norm, the tradition and everything, the traditions and all that. You have a choice.
You just have a choice.
Yeah, we're telling you there's other ways to do things.
Right.
And it's up to you. You can pick the way you want to do
It's like
it.
a buffet. I like to say it's like a buffet.
Yeah.
Like we just present, and the last thing I want to do is to tell someone, I don't want that job. I don't want that responsibility of telling someone what to believe in.
They must believe
I don't want
this.
that job. I don't want it at all. But I
No.
love exploring with people.
Right.
And deciding,
people's
how do I
ideas.
feel? How
Yeah.
do I feel? I don't know. I watch these videos and I'm like, oh, maybe I buy this. Maybe I don't buy that. And it's like, that's what's so rich about it. That's what's so fun about
Yes.
it, is trying to decide, get me thinking.
New things to think about. That's what we try to put out there.
Yeah.
Did you ever think about this? Did you ever think about that? That's what we try. But
Right. Here's a thought that's out there.
I wish sometimes we had an audience so we could ask them right now. What do you think?
That would be fun to do.
But yeah, it would be. It would be.
Yeah.
If we could, we would go give a lecture. If ever anybody called us or wanted us, we would go and talk in front of people. And if just remember that, folks, we'll come.
Or run a discussion group.
Yeah, we'll do that
come
for
and
you
do that.
if you want it personally.
Yep,
talk
if you
with
want to
people.
have a discussion group.
Sure.
Yep.
So.
All right. So we have a couple minutes, right?
Yeah, we've got about a couple of minutes is right. So
okay.
I don't know. We'll have to decide if we want to, have another show on this to finish it, or what do you think?
I think we're good. I mean,
good? Okay.
Yeah, I think we are. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
I think like Madame Blavatsky, she was the first not to keep things a secret. So it was beginning of the New Age movement. Just tell people, what is the New Age movement? Just that opened up a different way of thinking, that wasn't traditional religion.
Yeah. There were there was mostly the main religions: Protestant, Catholic, Episcopal,
Jewish,
and then what the Arabs,
Islam,
Muhammad, Islam, all the different ones, which everyone has the right to worship as they please, And then, I think when the 60s started it, with the flower children, so to speak, they started to change things, saying, well, listen, you don't have to follow this or that. You can think a new way, a different way, So
where are they?
Huh?
Where are they?
Well,
those
they're all
flower
grown up now.
children.
Yeah, the flower children
from
are
the
all grown up
60s.
now.
Why are they out there now
Yeah.
saying, hey, you don't have to, you can have free thought?
Well, they're around, but see, they changed it now. They're saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to bang you over the head with this hammer. Now it's different. You see? To the extreme.
Yeah.
No one has the right to do that.
Fascinating, yeah.
No one has the right to do that to anyone else.
I know.
I don't know what people are thinking. I don't know what's going on in their minds. I really don't. You can't force anyone to do anything. You should never force anyone to do anything. You should say, if someone's not acting right, you love the person who they are, because you're brother or sister, but you can stand up and say, this is not acceptable behavior, and we have to do something, and make the person see what they're doing wrong. Try to explain it to them. This is the wrong thing. If they don't want to know, then they can just go on their way, living their life the way they want to.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it. Agree to disagree.
You think this, I think this. What, are we going to stop being friends because of it?
Right.
And people are stopping.
Right.
People are breaking up friendships.
I know.
Now. I mean, I've never heard that in all my life, and I've never heard of friendships breaking up over difference of opinions. And it's starting to happen now. And that's a bad thing, because then we're out to get each other, and that's, imagine what the negative forces want. They don't want you to have friends.
No.
They don't want you to be loyal to anybody. They don't want you to be supportive of everyone, because you're just supposed to be worshiping the world order.
The worldly things.
The world order.
All right.
We
finished for the night. I hope you enjoyed this, ladies and gentlemen out there. And if you have any questions, get in touch with us, and we'll come and talk if you want. But anyway, here's our information. For me, Rosemary LaChance, phone 203-627-7966, email whitebuffalo8@comcast.net, and my website, www.rosemarylachance.com. And please go on the website, www.gabrielle-publishing-house.com. A world of information about everything we're talking about. Please visit it. And Carla?
Hi, and you can go on my website to reach me at carlaaugustin.com. Also, if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel under Carla Augustin, where my show airs, called Spiritual Invitation.
All right, folks, we're going to say goodnight now, and we're going to wish you the best, and we'll be back with the next video soon. All right, you take care out there. God bless. Mwah.
Wash the journey.
There. Now you can. Bye.
Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.